Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about pricing mistakes that you need to avoid in your social media marketing agency in 2023. So guys, like I say, in this video, I'm going to be talking about pricing, and pricing is one of those things which people really get caught up on, and it's quite difficult because there isn't a general rule of thumb. It's not like you're selling. It's not like when a dentist sells an Invisalign package. There isn't like a set price for a particular service. There's no like categorization of particular social media marketing agency services. It's not like Facebook ads cost £700 a month. It all depends on loads of different factors, which we're going to go through in this video. It depends on location. It depends on, time or value-based pricing. It depends on the niche you're in. It depends on loads of things. It's why it's a topic that which beginners get really flustered over, and rightly so, because you need to make sure it's right. Because if you get your pricing wrong, then you're doomed, basically. However, before I go into the pricing, I think it's important to run through the driveway analogy. If you're a long member of this channel, you're in the academy, you'll know what I'm talking about here. Say you've got a house and you want a new driveway, and you're contacting a driveway. They're not going to be able to give you a quote. They're not going to be able to tell you a price without knowing how big the driveway is. Is it 10 meters by 10 meters, or is it 100 meters by 100 meters? Is it block paving? Is it resin paving? Does it need the gradient lifted? Does it need, sleepers around the side? There's loads of different things that business needs to know before they quote you on the driveway. And that's the same thing with social media marketing services. For example, like I might get on a meeting with one dentist, and they've just spent 50 grand on a website. It's designed perfectly. It's designed in the same way our funnels are designed. They've got they do the email marketing perfectly. They've got sequences set up. So all they need is targeted traffic to that website. That's going to be priced very differently to someone who, a startup, a solo practitioner that works out of a dental practice that doesn't have a website. They don't even have a logo yet. So they need a logo, they need a domain, they need a sales funnel, they need email marketing, they need social media management growth, they need paid ads, they need everything. So that's going to be priced very differently because there's more work involved. So that's the first thing that you need to take into consideration, that there isn't a one size fits all, which is why you can't really give a price. And I recommend not putting a price on your presentation before you speak to them in that presentation. And if it means you leaving that presentation without telling your price and having to get on another call, then so be it, because you can't just give a wrong price. As your agency grows, like Tom and I can think in our head throughout the meeting, right, that's what it's going to cost you. But as a beginner, it's fine to leave the meeting and come back to the meeting with a price. But that's the first thing I want to go through. But in terms of mistakes that you need to avoid making, the first mistake is time versus value pricing. So there's two ways to price any type of service: time-based pricing or value-based pricing. So if you're going to do time-based pricing, that's going to be you pricing your services based on how much time's involved in that service. So you've got an hourly rate and you price it, right, that's going to take me 4 hours a month to do, so I'm going to charge this. Whereas the way you need to charge your social media marketing services is the value that you bring to the business. That being said, you also need to be careful with how much time that's going to take. You could bring value to a business where you make them 100 grand extra a month. However, if that's going to be a 80-hour-a-week task, then that aspect needs to be taken into consideration. Whereas if you're bringing 100 grand and it's taking 2 hours a week, then that's manageable. So you do need to watch both. And the mistake people make is they'll either go purely time-based, and they're, it's 2 hours a week, so they charge $100 an hour, so that's $200 a week. Whereas they're actually bringing so much value to that business because you're an expert, because there's no one else like you, where you could charge them more based on the value that you bring. So it needs to be a mixture of the mixture of the two, because it works both ways. Another mistake people make is quoting prices either too high or too low. And I made this mistake very early on in my agency. In my first few clients, what I did was I offered the client, because I wanted to get that deal over the line, I offered every single service under the sun. I did SEO, I did paid ads, I did social media management, I did email marketing, I did literally every service you can imagine. And I charged it £1,000 a month. which is around $1,400. Yeah, $1,400 a month. And that was a massive mistake because I completely underpriced what it was. Because I was so eager to get the deal over the line, I just gave them everything for a very low fee. And what that did to my agency was, it was basically like I had a job for £1,000 a month, because I had no time to do more cold calling. I had no time to do more prospecting. I didn't have any bandwidth in the day to deal with any more clients. So I really underpriced my service. And that was a lesson I learned from them. So you need to make sure that you don't go too low, so that you don't have any time to actually grow your agency, because it's not a full-time job. That being said, you also can charge too high. So, and that can lead to a number of problems. If you charge a client too much, so if you go in with $5,000 a month, they're just going to be like, that's just too expensive, Harry. We can't justify that. Whatever you charge, there's a fine line. It has to be value based on how much value you're going to bring. So you can charge more if you're going to make someone 100 grand than if you're only going to make them 10 grand. That being said, they have to justify it. It can't be a massive risk. And a lot of time you're going to have to build up to those larger fees, because when you do go in with larger fees, and this is more for beginners, like I say, or people from different countries, from developing countries, because you've got to think, what's their alternative? So if you're going in with $5,000, that business owner is going to think, well, right, what else could we do with that $5,000? So if someone in a developing country who's a beginner charges $1,500 a month, and then Tom and I come along who are experts and in the same country as them, so we're like in the UK, why would that business owner pay someone who's on a different time zone, who's as unexperienced, over Tom and I who are experienced and on the same time zone? It doesn't make any sense for them. So when you're delivering your price to them, you need to put yourself in the business owner's shoes and think, right, what disadvantage do they have going with me? And what kind of discount on price does that give? Am I in a third world country? Am I in a time zone where they don't have 24/7 access to me? Therefore, I need to lower my price. What are my competitors doing? What are the leaders in the industry doing? What are Tom and Harry pricing their services at? Because if I'm charging the same as Tom and Harry, and I don't have the level of expertise they do and the brand they do, then I can't charge the same as them, because then they would just work with Tom and Harry instead. So that's something you need to be really cautious of. What's your brand like? Have you worked with 5 business owners in the past and you delivered a terrible service for them? So when you get on a call with them and they ask what your testimonials are like and you say they're all bad, that's going to dictate the value that you bring and therefore the price that you can charge. So there's lots of variables that go into it that you need to take into consideration before you charge, because if you get those wrong, that's the fastest way you're going to kill a deal. And then the final pricing mistake I'm going to make is people being too stubborn on their price. And Tom and I are actually we're not stubborn on our price. We have a limit of where we want to go and what we're willing to work for. However, we understand the fact that business owners like to haggle. They like to get a deal. So if we always add room to negotiation in. So if someone says, right, and obviously with that negotiation comes less services. We're not just going to negotiate and keep the same service. No, we'll negotiate and take some services off that don't massively hinder the success of the campaign. But don't be too stubborn on your price. Don't be like, right, it's £2,000 a month. It's that or nothing. If they come back and say, you know what, Harry, like we've got a marketing budget of 1,700. What are you willing to do with that? And just be open and be willing to work with business owners. There's no point throwing away a $1,700 a month client because you're too stubborn to, for $300. Like it just doesn't make any sense. So yes, you need to be firm on your price. Yes, you need to stick to all of these things, but also work with the client, be understanding, be, just be clever about it, and like I say, always act like a human, and just make it work, and you'll sign the client. So short and sweet video there, guys. Just wanted to point out a few pricing mistakes people make, and just the things to look out for. If you have any questions on pricing, drop me a message on Instagram, Harry_SMMA, and I can help you out with any pricing. You want me to look over a proposal, happy to do so. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you've not watched our previous video, the previous video was a Q&A. We discussed all sorts from client communication, pricing, all sorts. Really good video. Give it a watch, and we'll see you tomorrow at 9 AM for tomorrow's video.